Let's talk about ancestor offerings. I'm Katie, I'm a psychic, and in your June psychic horoscope, I mentioned leaving offerings for your ancestors. But how do we go about doing this? There are many different ways to do this, so I recommend doing your own research and trusting your own intuition. There are also a lot of different cultural ways to do this. A lot of different cultures have their own unique, beautiful way of honoring the dead. I'm going to share what I do in case it resonates with you. First things first, why work with your ancestors? Why honor them? Why honor the dead? And there's a million different reasons why you should work with your ancestors, but simply put, no one is more invested in your well-being than your ancestors. There's a really great article on sphereandsundry.com that I highly recommend reading. They dive into all of the nuances of the practice, the history. They also touch on how to deal with more unsavory ancestors that we might not necessarily want to be honoring. Personally, I work with my ancestors for protection, healing familial trauma, and also revenge. First step is setting up an ancestor altar. I have one, and I think to the untrained eye, you might not even know what it is. I have old photos, trinkets I feel called to leave, as well as a dedicated ancestor candle. This is the space where I leave an offering for my ancestors. My most common offering is not only lighting my ancestor candle, but leaving some sort of food, whether it's food I'm eating, enjoying, making, especially a good little dessert, especially one that I've baked. I always set some aside and leave it on the mantle when I feel called to. I like to leave specific offerings for specific past loved ones. For example, my grandma Fran loved a cigarette. So for her birthday, I'll probably leave a cigarette on my altar just for her. My great grandma, my Nana, she was incredibly Catholic. So an offering for her looks more like saying a Hail Mary or lighting a candle in a Catholic church. My spicier tip is if you do me wrong, I will tell my ancestors about it. And if you see one of them standing over you while you're sleeping, I don't know, that's not my business. I don't know. Working with your ancestors, regardless of your background or your personal belief system, is incredibly beautiful. It is such a blessing to have loved ones on the other side. Every single time I give a psychic reading to someone, I see the infinite amount of ancestors rooting for them on the other side. They want you to work with them. They want you to call on them. They want you to pay homage to them at the very least. This June, I predicted that we'll be dealing with some heavier inner child stuff, and working with my ancestors on healing that and healing any familial trauma has been such an absolute blessing. So lean on your ancestors as much as you can.